Hello, thank you for joining me again at Bert's Books. This is going to be one of those unscripted kind of rambles again on the subject of new acquisitions. Now things are a little bit open again, and real world foraging for books is again a bit of a thing. A couple of which are actually items that were previously on my wants list. If anyone saw that one a few months ago, a couple of those I've since succeeded in picking up. First of which being the novelisation of George Romero's Martin, which I think you can see the price tag on that. Not cheap, but could have been worse. So quite pleased with that one. Also, from that wants list, it's a bit of a tatty copy, but I didn't end up paying too much for it. Willi Heinrich's The Crumbling Fortress. If you're not familiar with Heinrich, he was the author behind the original novel of the film that was filmed as Cross of Iron by Sam Peckinpah. He wasn't exclusively a war author, but he had three war titles that I know of, this being the one I haven't read. So it's been covered actually since by, if you go to the channel Seagulls Gather, he has done a review of this book, which I haven't watched in its completion yet, because I don't want it to influence mine if I do one. But anyway, Seagulls Gather can tell you a little bit more about this one. Next up from a book fair a few months ago in London, John Brunner, who's better known I think for a series of science fiction novels, but here I don't know if the intention was to get into some kind of Shaft type territory, but we have Honky in the Woodpile, the title of which seems to be an inversion on a phrase I would never have been aware of if it wasn't for its use some time ago by Tory MP, what's her name, Anne-Marie Morris. She had the party whip suspended. Next up, a New English Library title, and you can always count on New English Library for a certain level of quality. Hitchhiker by Petra Christian. I think I've got something else by Petra Christian. Kind of sort of sexploitative kind of title. I forget what it is now. It's either it's something in a similar vein. I'd have to check. But this one, I guess it's to do with sexy hitchhiking. Sally found that some French motorists expected to be paid for giving lifts. Oh, I wonder. To her surprise, she found that she enjoyed paying the price. Well, okay. Now I've covered Richard Allen fairly recently, with his 1977 punk rock title. What a fucking triumph that one was. Anyway, this came even later, even further down the descending spiral of his output. I guess this is about 1979 or 1980, cashing in on the mod revival that was going on around that time. Mod Rule, I haven't really dived in yet. It just looks to me like a really shit quadrophenia. On a more serious note, Journey's End by R. Sheriff and Vernon Bartlett, the novelisation of what originally was a stage play, I think in the 20s or 30s, describing the tragic situation of frontline soldiers in the First World War. I may go into this one in a little more depth on the basis that the story for this was adapted and transferred to the situation of the Royal Flying Corps for the film Aces High, which starred Malcolm McDowell amongst others. But that also was novelised, so I have both. So it might be interesting at some point. I've missed a chance to do it for Armistice Day now, obviously, but a chance to compare those two might be quite interesting. A more recent title, Graham Bendel's The Comforter. This is published by Fortune Teller Press, who were also responsible for the reprint of Gideon Sam's The Punk, which I covered a couple of videos ago. So this one, I've not got too far into it yet, but it concerns the plight of a chap who's got himself into rather a sticky situation with debt. So this subject has since become topical with the unexpected hit of the Netflix series The Squid Game. But I think this book must have come before any of this. So this chap, in order to get himself out of this situation, he embarks on this rather strange career as a kind of curious form of male prostitution, I suppose you could describe it as. But like I say, I'm not too far in, so we'll see where this one goes. Finally, a book which will give you an earworm, a persistent earworm of a catchy banjo jingle. B, some deeply uncomfortable mental imagery, and C, a less than flattering portrait of the American southern rural demographic. I have the novel of Deliverance, which this edition I think was a reprint. You can see from the art, I think, to tie in with the release of the John Borman film. So I think this one got a pretty cover. I'm about halfway through this one again. Maybe this is one I should do in greater detail. I mean, I've encountered the author before, actually, and a book he did, I think it's called To the Great White Sea or To the White Sea, which I suppose is very vaguely similarly themed, in that it concerns the plight of a very masculine protagonist against the forces of nature and other hostile elements pitted against him in that situation. But I guess that was probably a bit of a theme with Dickey's work, but I think possibly we should look at this one in greater detail once I've got through it. Anyway, so that's it. Yeah, there's a nice, not a bad little haul the last few months from mostly from real world shopping jaunts. There's a couple of online purchases amongst them, but mostly real world, and it's nice to have that back again. So I hope you're all keeping yourselves safe and well out there through this continuously strange time, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.